Well, here we already are. It's the 2022 federal election. And that means one thing for you and quite another for me. I mean, for you, obviously, it means you'll probably go on Twitter and say something about an ICAC like you like to do, or, sign an online petition. Maybe you'll go and share a Juice Media video. Or maybe you'll say something about how a Batuta Advocate article is barely even satire anymore. Those sorts of things. Whatever it is people like you like to do, and that's fine. That's fair. We're in a democracy. You're allowed to be a normie. But for me, it definitely means one very different thing, and one very different thing alone. It means for me that for the first time since 2019, I'm able to fetch for the dusty old Pokeball and get out there like Ash Ketchum and start hunting some steaming hot fucking rare Pokemon. That's right, it's the 2022 Australian federal election cooked candidates hunt. Let's go catch 'em all. Now, I've never played a Pokemon game before. I think it might be essentially fantasy dogfighting for 35-year-old children. But I've been into an EB Games, I've walked by a Zing pop culture store, I've seen your Funko Pop collectible holofoil card limited trading platinum packs that you buy. So I understand a bit about what the fully grown youth of tomorrow are into. I understand that Pokemon make the same game again and again, I think, but with different fucking colours or themes or limited editions or whatever it is you 40-year-old children enjoy. And in a way, that's how elections work now too. Fundamentally the same shit over and over, but with different packaging and diminishing returns as you grow older and more cynical. Now, last time we went on a federal poke adventure, the theme, you may recall, was the rise of the far right. The National Conservative movement, as headed by Tramadol-type rare Pokemon and noted bankrupt Senator Fraser Anning. What's the theme this time around? What is it? That's correct, it's piss. But it's also correct that it's the UAP. Now, the UAP are funded by universally reviled wage thief Clive Palmer, and they're addicted to smearing every billboard space in Australia with the word freedom, like a libertarian with Tourette's. They're also spending record amounts of money on the election again. They did that last time round, but apparently it's going to be in excess of 100 million this time round. It's amazing because if you look at Clive Palmer's previous goes at having a political party, you'll see that he doesn't actually seem to give a shit about the functional machinery of a party as soon as the election is done. Once Clive gets his little goals, he basically loses interest, it seems. So what are Clive's real goals this time? Personally, I think this is a very expensive bet on your gullibility and your stupidity. These deeply cynical people basically want you to be enough of an idiot to vote for them just because of the big, attractive freedom words written all over the piss billboards that are everywhere. And if you are in the market for that kind of thing, you might be wondering, well, how do I catch my own piss-flavoured Pokemon? Well, UAP are fielding candidates all over Australia for the House of Reps and to a lesser degree the Senate, so great news for you. We've gone through and we've curated a selection of some of their finest piss-type Pokemon. Becky Spillman is, well, look, she's good mates with a neo-Nazi, Kate Callan, someone who believes in race war and white supremacy and, who constructed gallows to parade outside of Victoria's Parliament House. So that's her mate. Becky collects guns, I know that. She has lots of guns, so there's that too. And I'm told she also might spend a lot of time out of a sort of compound out in Hillsville with various far-right rich types. When I look at all that all up, I think that sounds like real election material, doesn't it? You know, Fraser Anning's party in 2019, they really just let any old kook in. And then they suffered for it later on when all these people's pasts came up. But you'd think that Clive Palmer would at least have the money, as he does, to vet this kind of thing. Like, maybe check about the Nazi best friend stuff, or, like, check what's in the compound first. Anyway, I guess now that we're all here at this stage, we kind of have to vote for this really confidence-inspiring woman. Because if we don't, well, she might go full race war. Seems easier this way. I don't know if you recall that one time when Clive Palmer fucked over 237 of his own employees at Queensland Nickel back in 2015, 2016 by making them all redundant and not paying them properly. That was cool. Anyway, when he did that, he stood his wife down as director, presumably to insulate him from responsibility in some tricky little working class man way. But he put his nephew in as the director instead. That's this guy. Martin's also been a RAF squadron leader, and he, well, oh look, I don't care. Just look at him. Look at him. Look, what is this Mario ass, Monopoly man ass, Salvador Dali ass, Wyatt Earp ass shit? Honestly, this is it. This is the nephew of Clive Palmer, and he wears this mustache. You know, that is not a mustache that normal working class people wear. He's fucking stinging for a top hat, mate. You know, he's not buying groceries, he's buying up the blue properties on Boardwalk, mate. He doesn't do what you do, you know? Now, I don't know what these fucking nerds' policies are. I don't give a fuck. I mean, the UAP are basically promising to make everything free, like they're commies, but instead of paying for it properly by taxing the rich, like we should, they want to pay for it by fucking mining even more. And also, they're going to just pretend that COVID isn't there. That's the platform, you know? It's really dumb. It's really stupid. So discussing policies feels anathema to this whole exercise. Like the UAP vote, in reality, let's face it, it's a vote to get your niece back for believing in climate change, or because you think that not wearing a mask in Woolworths is an actual character trait. You know, nobody interested in this party cares about policy. No one working for it, no one interested in it. You're not here for policy either, mate. You're here for Pokemon. So let's not pretend. So, with that bullshit out of the way, let's just read James's bio. James Savalitas was born and raised in Canberra, the heart of the nation. As a young one, he enjoyed what most growing boys do. Freedom. The freedom to dig holes, eat bugs, ride his bike, and play Nintendo. Holy shit. So, the freedom that's on all the piss billboards, the freedoms, is actually just the freedom to eat bugs. See, I always said that this freedom thing is a brainworm that means nothing, but how wrong I was. Let's read more of this bio. In 2015, he started his own basketball club, the Canberra City Stallions. After fielding just 11 teams at first, they managed to grow to 50 teams into 50 fielded the strongest. Why is this in a political bio? This is a basketball bio. This guy doesn't know what to tell people about politics. This is genuinely weird. But anyway, here he is in a Trump hat saying he didn't give a shit about politics until 2016. And that tracks, because to be clear, all of this kind of wave of people who consider parties like this worth running for, they didn't care about politics until they decided it was real enough for them when the arrogant Seppo business president guy started being a bit rude on the telly, and that gave them a sugar rush. All these people are like that. But they're free to do it, I acknowledge. You know, that is their right, that is their freedom. They are as free to do it as playing Nintendo DS while eating a moth. So this is a real UAP candidate. He's an Elvis impersonator. And, he's the winner of the world's largest Elvis festival from the year 2000 in Canada. Yeah, here's a video of him Elvising. And he's an anti-lockdown kook and he hates the Greens. He used to have his own Graceland, and Clive Palmer hired him once in 2014 to entertain dickheads in the Sunshine Coast. They must have stayed in touch, and now Elvis Presley is running for Parliament. And I don't know, it's just like, sometimes with parties like this, it feels like someone's run a dumb candidate generator. And you look at this latest candidate you've dug up, and you're like, oh no, that's not real. It's got to be a joke. You can't really have a human like that. But they always do. Like, do you remember last Cooked Candidates Federal Election video when we looked at Professor Fuck Robots, the sex robot racist guy? Well, now we've got anti-lockdown Elvis Freedom Kook. The world is an amazing place, alright? And by the way though, sorry, you can't take 4 fucking days off in the middle of a federal election campaign to go and be Elvis, mate. What the fuck? Okay, I know. Yes, it's another Elvis. No, not all Elvises are Elvis Presley impersonators. I've seen where you've gone wrong here, but just don't assume, okay? But don't worry, he's enough of a kook for you, I'm sure. This Elvis thinks that Blair Cottrell, formerly notorious neo-Nazi of the racist patriot movement, now a nobody, is actually Shane Warne's son. He shared a Blair Cottrell video talking about how bad vaccines are, and he said, oh, this is Shane Warne's son. Why did he think that? Well, I have to say, I don't think he just looked at the guy and imagined he was his son. I think a Nazi probably told him that for a laugh. Nazis are in the ear of cunts like this all the time. And let's face it, most of these candidates are stupid and highly suggestible people. Anyway, here's his bio. And there's a lot of stuff about the UFC in there. And hey, that's perfectly fine, because after all, he is campaigning to be elected as an MMA fighter, not a politician. So this guy tried to start an app which is like technologically sanctioned stalking, I think, like masquerading as a dating app. It's called Spotter. It lets you stalk someone that you think is hot on a train while you're sort of following them home to murder them and wear their face. So just so you know who you'll be murdering, which is really hot. Anyway, Stalky app guy reckons something vaccine, something Nuremberg code, which is code for I'm an idiot. So go on, vote for him if that's your poison. If you're having any trouble finding out if you can vote for him, he's helpfully put a bizarrely long and specific list of postcodes up in his bio. Or maybe they're all the postcodes that he stalked you in. Jason Oldborn runs a site called World Series News Underground TV, which is basically like BBC, I'm sure, like really professional stuff. Funny though, when I went to the website, I kind of expected some unhinged, GIF-laden GeoCities shit, but it actually looks like a promo site for a 2010s SBS documentary, don't you think? But it's actually all just Q-pilled garbage. This guy's a fucking kook. But get this, hey, he's a dad, but he founded a group called A Million Mums for Informed Consent. Well, look, I just think it's funny, but you might well see it as a surprisingly gender-forward take from an otherwise quite bigoted party. So well done to the UAP for that. Look, this guy isn't an Elvis impersonator. He doesn't conceive of freedom as chewing on a stag beetle. There are no fireworks here. But as head kook, as lead candidate of the party, essentially offered up as a visible alternative to the instinctively alienating presence of Clive Palmer, it is through Kelly's cookness that the systemic cookness of all the UAP is allowed to cook. So this Pokemon must be caught. Now, I've discussed a bit of the Nazi stuff earlier in this video. I'm all across the UAP's awkward proximity to neo-Nazism. Like, I remember when Craig Kelly had rally security in the form of one Stuart von Moger, who is a veteran member of neo-Nazi groups like the Lad Society and the National Socialist Network. I remember Clive Palmer having used the same neo-Nazi media creator team who helped create his cringe Palmy Army meme lord era last election, the same people who went on to work for Fraser Anning and help him set up his explicitly white nationalist campaign. So I'm all across this history. So when I myself went to a UAP rally in Canberra and I caught Kelly speaking just after this one anti-Semite, here you go.
And I notice there's a lot of people here today wandering around with the red and the blue flags. That piece of shit that's in the corner of that flag is the Union Jack, the Union of Jacob. It represents three Hebrew tribal flags. And if you're worried about standing under the Jews and what they represent, that's what you're standing under when you carry that flag. Okay?
Yeah, and this is a rally that was advertised by the UAP. I thought, well, I've got you cunts now. You know, I've got you platforming of overt anti-Semitism. You're fucked. So I did. I talked about it. I went ahead and I did a video on it. I did an article on it. And then, good on him, James Elton from the ABC's 7:30 program actually asked Clive Palmer in his press club meeting about it. And then someone actually egged Kelly about it. And I thought, well, I've truly managed to stir this pot. So what did Kelly say about it? Well, Kelly just pretended it wasn't his rally. You know, he just said his rally, it ended at 10. Even though I filmed him speaking after the other guy, the anti-Semite, at 12:40 in the Arvo. He just said he wasn't there. You know, you just say that the thing isn't a thing. That's where their responsibility ends with these people in this world. They just get to say that the thing isn't a thing. You know, this is the world of the freedom candidates. You know, they plaster the word freedom all over every bit of available piss-coloured canvas. Freedom, freedom, freedom. They say things that don't exist, like cliches, and then things that do exist, they just make vanish away by saying they don't. Like their Jew-hating mates. This is the UAP vote in a nutshell, and truly is a vote tailored for an idiot. You know, we're often told that we shouldn't look down our nose at the populist right. And I understand that sentiment, but this isn't even that. You know, the entire UAP gambit is banking on you being dim enough to think that these oligarchs give a fuck about your interest just because they repeat words that you like on piss canvas. You can't get any more cynical than that. Oh wait, yes you can. You can get me. I'm more cynical than that. Because I still feel like heaps of you are going to vote for them. And then I feel like you'll all vote Scott Morrison back in, even though he just made an absolute cunt out of himself for years. And then I feel like you'll all spend the next 4 years blaming your bad decisions on greenies while you all simultaneously burn and drown. You know, I wish that real elections were exciting as playing Pokemon for you. Maybe then you'd give a fuck about it. Anyway, I hope you'll prove me wrong. That's it.
Monster.
If you can support the feel-good work that I do, then come and chuck me a clan at patreon.com/TomTaniki.